In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Now get started again.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Across this globe, I am back live. Right here on the Rod Eccles Show. It is I, your lovable host, El Rod, coming to you live on this Monday night. It is September the 28th, the year of our Lord 2015, as I broadcast live from the Granite State, the state with the motto of live free or die. It is not big government or bust, and I check just about every day, as I did today, and it is still live free or die. And the number that you can call this evening is toll-free, 603-835-3224. Again, that's 603 835-3224. Now, I know in my absence there was a lot that went down. And I know probably a lot of you want to know what my take is on the Boehner resignation. And, you know, I keep saying Bonnier, and it is Boehner. It is John Boehner, not Bonnier. Well, maybe it sounds better as Bonnier. I don't know. But the resignation of the Speaker of the House, which takes effect at the end of October, and by the way, October is around the corner. It's not even down the street anymore. It's just around the corner. Unbelievable already. And I got that and a lot more to go over with you today about what has been happening over the past week or so. You know, one of the things that I saw come across my news feed one of the interesting things that came across my news feed over the past few days was, believe it or not, Tom Brady. And I got to tell you, when I was down in North Carolina last week, wonderful group of people. I got the opportunity to speak in front of two wonderful, committed, constitutional conservative groups down in North Carolina. One was in New Bern, North Carolina. The women's group, what is it? The Eastern North Carolina Republican Women's Group. Had a great time with them. You know, I actually stayed with some newfound friends. They allowed me to stay in their home, and that would be Diane and Denny Booker, and they were fantastic. You got to. I mean, you know what? Those are two people that if I actually lived there, I would probably, they would definitely be friends, and we'd probably hang out a lot. That's how much I enjoyed their company, and I hope they enjoyed mine as well. They were just a fantastic, I mean, they're an older couple. You know, they have adult children. And I do believe, well, Denny ran for mayor of New Bern, but I guess he was defeated. He didn't win that one. I don't know if he's thinking about trying that run again. I have no doubt that if he were elected mayor of the city of New Bern, North Carolina, he'd do an awesome job at it. It is a quaint little town. I do believe it's an incorporated city. It's a quaint little city. I mean, the downtown, I was there in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week. We were downtown. And I'm looking around thinking, is this a Sunday afternoon or a Sunday morning, or is this middle? Because it was kind of empty. Now, one thing I learned about New Bern, I did not know before. And that is New Bern, and I even went to the actual store. I was taken to the actual store. New Bern is the birthplace of Pepsi Cola. Yes, that Pepsi. And I think it was called, the original, when it was at first, developed by a pharmacist. But, all these pharmacists put together stuff back in the 18 and 1900s. And he came up with this drink, Pepsi Cola. But he called it, I think it was originally called Bert's Drink or Burns Drink, something like that. But that name didn't take off. And then, they kind of hemmed and hawed and came up with a new name because it put pep in your step, I guess. And thus the name Pepsi was born. And it was served at this pharmacy soda fountain. Back in the day that, soda fountains were also doubled as pharmacies and that type of thing. It was pretty common. But today it's I do believe that the location, the store is owned by Pepsi Cola Corporation. There's no soda fountain there, really. I mean, you can get, Pepsi products, Pepsi and Mountain Dew and things like that. But I don't think it's a full-fledged soda fountain. But, and frankly, I got, it's really nothing more than a retail store of paraphernalia of Pepsi regalia, and sort of a mini tourist trap. Not that I think that New Bern gets an awful lot of tourists, but it's a beautiful little downtown area, and it was just so quiet. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to that type of quiet early in the morning or on a Sunday. Not in the middle of a workday afternoon. And it was not a vacation day by any stretch of the means. But from what I understand, a lot of people from the north, especially a lot of people from New England, instead of going all the way down to Florida, they're settling in that part or that region of North Carolina, which, again, is something I thought was kind of interesting. And that the area is kind of growing more and more conservative as more New England conservatives move down after, getting older and getting close to retirement or retiring there. And there are a lot of interesting, the communities are the planned communities, if you will, they're beautiful little subdivisions, but they are subdivisions. You know what those look like. However, the subdivision, well, there's also, I guess, a lot of golf courses. Well, I don't golf, so I didn't really pay attention to that. But but then there are some subdivisions that don't really look like subdivisions, but they don't have ticky-tacky houses that are, all the same. They were quite different. In this particular neighborhood that Diane and Denny Bucher lived in, they were large houses, a group of large houses, and a pretty large sub-community, if you will. But they didn't all look alike. You knew you were in a development. When you drove through it, obviously, you knew you were in a development. Just because how the houses were set back and how everything was designed, it looked like a development. However, all the houses did not look the same. And that was quite different, because I'm used to, in housing subdivisions or what have you in suburbia, is that they have like 4 or 5 different models of homes. And they're, all the houses look alike. And I know my sister lives in a design community like this. I think it's a Ryan Homes community in central New York. And I know in these subdivisions that they often build, there's like 4 or 5 or 6 different home designs with floor plans that are available for that particular division. And what they try to do is they try to make sure that that 2 of the houses with the exact same exterior are not located next to each other. The problem with that is that often you have 1 or 2 plans that are the most popular. So it becomes very difficult to tell one buyer, okay, you can have, popular house A, and then, on lot 1, but then to tell the next buyer, well, okay, if you want lot 2, you can't have popular house A. Well, of course they're going to say, okay, you can have popular house A. And so one of the ways that they try to make things look different is they might flip it around. The garage might be attached on the right side on one house. And then you go next door into the second lot, and the garage is attached. They flip the house around, so the garage is actually attached to the left side. They still look alike. They do their best. But what I saw in Diane and Denny's subdivision is I didn't see really 2 houses that looked alike. If there were, they definitely were not close enough to each other to be noticed. And it was a beautiful. They had a beautiful piece of property. I guess he says it's nearly 2 acres, and it's on a lake or a pond, and beautiful spread. And I really had a wonderful time with them. And then I moved on to Greenville, North Carolina, where another Spitfire of a lady hosted me. Her name is also Diane. And she was just this little thing. She wore these heels, and even when she was wearing heels, I don't think she was 5 feet tall. She said she was like 4'9", 4 feet 9 inches tall. And she was also a high school teacher. Believe it or not, she was a high school, and I actually got to sit in on her high school class while I was there. And yeah, she was doing things. She was teaching chemistry to one of her classes, and I got to tell you, honest, I was straining to remember my chemistry. As she was going over certain parts of the periodic table, I was really straining to remember my lessons on the periodic table. Now, it all came back, but I got to tell you, it's not. I've learned this stuff. You and we've learned this stuff before, but to sit in it after all of these years of not utilizing it, it's almost like you're learning it all over again. So it was really kind of different. And then, of course, she had a governments class, but we also broke in the middle of the day. We actually got to, because it was a private school, a Catholic school, actually, high school. Of course, as you can expect, they broke to watch the speech of Pope Francis. The Pope, obviously Catholics, and it was an entire school event, if you will, in their school's quote unquote auditorium, and watch the feed of the entire speech. Yes, it was less than an hour, it was about 45 minutes or so. But that was an hour out of their day. And believe it or not, once the Pope started speaking, something that I found fascinating. Now, I'm not Catholic, but what I found fascinating is that nearly every single student seemed to sit mesmerized, paying attention to what the Pope was saying. Now, I don't know if the teachers threatened to give the kids a quiz or something afterwards, but I just found it amazing that you have all these high school students, 9 through 12, basically 14 to 18 years of age, who would probably much rather be anywhere doing anything else than sitting in front of a large screen. Well, it wasn't the TV, it was a projector TV, a large screen projector TV, listening to the Pope. But if that's what you thought, like I thought, you would be wrong, because I would say maybe there was one or two students that weren't really paying attention, because the entire school, other than maybe those one or two, were paying attention, seemed to be paying attention to the Pope. And there was no shh or settle down or pay attention. The teachers and administration didn't have to speak to those kids, not even once, which is something else. You want to talk about discipline? I mean, these kids knew discipline. They knew how to act. Plain and simple. And it was an amazing time. And of course, giving my keynotes to these two groups was a lot of fun. Questions that came at me were fast and furious. In one of the groups, I had a gentleman who was really trying to take me to task on Donald Trump. Another gentleman was trying to take me to task on things like Article 5. Yeah, and just a bunch of other questions. It was really a good time. I'm glad that people are engaged and paying attention down in North Carolina. Now, I think next week I will be off to Pennsylvania. Near is it Harrisburg? I do believe Harrisburg area. That's next week. But don't worry, that will slow down. I do understand that I will be in South Carolina, I do believe, in January. So those of you down south, the mouth of the north is coming down to invade you, so you better be prepared. And I know that I will be back in North Carolina sometime next year as well as a few other places that probably aren't really expecting anyone like me. But that's a good thing to wake up people who've fallen asleep, because we need people that are paying attention, especially now. I know there are people out there that love the Donald and people that hate the Donald, but even a lot of people that I spoke to, at least down in North Carolina, that didn't necessarily want to see Donald getting the nomination and aren't, really too keen on a President Donald Trump, although if he is a nominee, they say they will support him. But it's amazing how hardly any of them don't think that he should be in. They all love the fact that he's in the race, for the simple fact that he's making the other candidates better. That's all. Well, that's always a good thing when you're making the other candidates better. But speaking of Donald Trump, coming back north, again, this is coming through my my news feed over the past few days, and I saw something that I'm scratching my head on, and it's related to the world of sports. And you probably know what I was asked constantly, are you a New England Patriots fan? In which I had to reply, no, I'm a lifelong Pittsburgh Steeler fan. And I ran into a couple of other people who were also Steeler fans. The diversity down there because people are coming from all over there, I don't know, I guess it's like California. There aren't many native North Carolinians there. They're all from someplace else, pretty much like California. There aren't many California girls in Southern California. They all come from someplace else. But so I hear. But I had to acknowledge that, and they asked me about what, people asked me on the side about what I thought of Deflategate. And I told them I thought it was a farce. And I had to give Tom Brady his props. I mean, I admit it, Tom Brady is probably, arguably, the best quarterback to ever play the game. Not just now, but ever in the history of the game. I know there are people saying, no, that's Johnny Unitas. I understand that. I did not see Johnny Unitas play, but I understand the records that he once held and his stats. And I also understand that he did it in a different era, with fewer games per season, that type of thing. But it's that's why I said arguably. I think if you're going to talk about the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, you're probably, as far as not only their stats, but their presence on the field, the quote unquote fear and respect that they instill from the other teams. I think the two that you're going to find right at the top are Tom Brady and Johnny Unitas. I don't think there's a question. Now, who is actually better? Unitas didn't play as long as Brady is playing. By the way, might I add, I'm looking at a picture of Brady right now because I'm going to go over something that involves Tom Brady in politics, not just football. The man is 38 years old. And I know there are a lot of women out there that just love this guy. He think he's gorgeous, handsome, stud muffin, all that kind of stuff. And he's, 38. I got recent pictures of him. He looks pretty darn good for 38. I guess that's what you get when you have a supermodel for a wife. She's probably going to keep you looking good for as long as possible. But there's a problem. Tom is human. And in this latest picture of him, I'm looking at him like, hey, Tom, buddy. Now, do you remember a few years ago, he had that long hair? And that was one of the things that everybody talked about. All the commentators, they talked about Tom Brady's long, thick hair. And, everybody thought, well, maybe it was his wife, Giselle, that was her prodding to have him. I had a neighbor that at that particular point in time that with his hair gushed over him. Oh, he's so gorgeous with that long hair. Yeah, okay, great. If you say so, great. But he still looks good for 38, but here's the problem. I believe Tom's hairline, those long, luscious locks are long gone, and he's got a more conservative short haircut, and it's revealing his receding hairline. I think he's starting to lose his hair. Now, I'm not saying that this whole mess with Deflategate is what's causing it, but not only is his hairline receding in the front, but in the picture you can very well notice quite a bit of gray. Again, the guy is just turned 38. So it's not like he's, 20-something anymore. But he's still a magnificent quarterback. And he doesn't seem to be getting any less efficient with age. And there's an article about him saying that they highly doubt that he'd be able to play till he was 45. Now, I didn't, thoroughly read the article, but from what I gather is that Tom wouldn't mind playing until he was 45 or 46 years old. Now, I don't think that's going to be really feasible. That's another 7 years of punishing. Well, he's gotten this far, I guess. I don't think he's really been hurt for long periods of time yet. But if he takes care of himself, I know his wife will make sure that he's taking care of himself. He just may get close to that, but it's all going to depend on how effective he is. The first year that they don't win the Super Bowl or make it to the playoffs is going to be the last year of Brady. That's when it's going to be over for him. And who knows? Maybe he'll go out with a Super Bowl win at the age of 45. That would be rather amazing. But the reason why I bring up Brady isn't to discuss his hairline or his graying follicles, but rather to discuss something that took place in Sports Illustrated. Yes, Sports Illustrated. This is why, it came across my newsfeed. This is why I was kind of surprised by it. Because I guess I shouldn't be surprised, considering that Sports Illustrated is also populated by a bunch of liberal, nutjob, idiot, lamestream sports media press people. But nonetheless, I don't know why Tom Brady has to do what they're demanding. And if I were Tom, I wouldn't. But, Tom being Tom, he just might. And I'll explain as soon as we get back.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Start training for a new career in as little as 18 days. National EMS Institute's innovative boot camp program will train you for a new career. Learn to respond to emergency situations and become a certified EMT in just 18 days. National EMS Institute guarantees 100% job placement. Visit www.nationaleMSinstitute.com today to learn more about our 18-day boot camp. Or call us at 1-800-497-6732. NationalEMSInstitute.com.
Stuck in a boring, low-paid job? By 2017, there will be a shortage of 2 million cybersecurity jobs worldwide. If you have a technical background but don't have a computer certification, you are being drastically underpaid. In months, you could be qualified for a new job in information technology, making real money with real job security. A new career is just a few clicks away at thecodeoflearning.com.
Because you're still listening to yours truly, me, Elrod, your lovable host. One of the things that, did you know that what Tom Brady's full name was? I didn't realize that he was a junior. And he's got, for those of you who want to know, he has 3 children. He's got one child from a previous relationship, and but his name, his full name is Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. And according to Wikipedia, and this is the only place I could find it, his nickname is Tom Terrific. Now, I gotta tell you, I don't know anybody around New England that has actually called him Tom Terrific, but he's got a long name, and he's a junior. I didn't realize he was a junior. But again, look, I don't go looking, for. I'm not a person that gets into celebrityism anyway. So I don't try to find out every little nuance about a person that I might like as an actor or a sports figure, because I don't really care. Not that I'm trying to sound mean or crass or anything. But I'm only interested in them for one reason. Tom Brady is football. I'm not really interested on what he does off the field. And I find it amazing that so many people, so many sports people want to know what this guy's like off the field. I don't really care. I mean, I'm probably never going to meet him. And I'm, probably never, ever going to be actual, quote unquote friends with the man. I'll never hang out with him. So why would I care what he does? I mean, beyond the extent of how that affects his persona and influences other people, especially young people. But he seems to be a good role model. He's not running around. I haven't heard of stories of him running around with a bunch of women all the time, and getting into trouble and, drugs or anything like that. And he's not getting DWIs, and he's living his life with his, his supermodel wife out there in California for a good part of the year, and here in New England for another good part of the year. And, he's just, he seems to be a very nice, genuine guy from what I understand. So I know people like, did you see the house that him and Giselle built? I could care less. It was think it was like a $30 million spread out there. I don't care. Two lucky spoiled kids, I guess. His first child is a son, I do believe. Does not even share his last name because the child's mother and Tom were not married. If I'm not mistaken, weren't they actually engaged at one point? And I don't, because this is why I don't pay attention, because I don't pay attention to this stuff. I could care less, but I do know that he has 3 kids. His oldest son does not share his last name. Don't know why that is. Don't particularly care. That's between him and the baby, the baby mama. But the reason I'm bringing up Tom Brady isn't because of Deflategate. It's because of Sports Illustrated has decided via the Cauldron on Sports Illustrated SI.com that Tom Brady needs. This is the title now. Tom Brady needs to answer questions about his support of Donald Trump. Now, since when do celebrities of any genre need to explain or answer questions about their support of a particular candidate? First of all, I don't think Brady's actually come out and said, I want Trump for president. He hasn't done that. But I don't see these jackasses running around trying to get, every liberal celebrity to answer, saying that they need to answer questions about their support of another liberal candidate. I don't see anybody running around saying that, whoever is supporting Bernie Sanders, that they need to answer questions about their support of Bernie Sanders. But now all of a sudden, Tom Brady, because, he's arguably the NFL's best QB ever, definitely the best QB playing the game right now, needs to answer questions about why he supports Donald Trump. When he's never said that that's what he does. He knows Donald Trump. I guess he's friends with Donald Trump. He's played golf with Donald Trump. But just because you've done all of that doesn't mean that you there are people that I've palled around with, past and present. It doesn't mean I would support them for public office if they were running. I mean, what kind of nonsense is that? Just is it guilt by association in that? Or I guess support by association. Now, it'd be very difficult for me right now, and especially going forward, as this program grows and I become, better known, and I get the opportunity to meet and possibly hang out with more and more people of note. Am I going to have to explain every time somebody demands that I explain my support without me ever saying that I support somebody? Just because I hang out with somebody doesn't mean I support them for public office. Just because Tom Brady was hanging out with, but this is the liberal left. And they just can't stand the fact that Donald Trump is Donald Trump. They can't get him. They have nothing on him. They've tried. Just like the gentleman that was trying to question me about Donald Trump down in Greenville. Donald Trump has gone bankrupt. No, he hasn't gone personally bankrupt. Well, Donald Trump, they did a study, and they said that, with his money and what his dad's money was, that his rate of return was only like 2% a year. No, that's also false. Because look, I saw two different PBS biographies on Donald. We're talking PBS here on Donald Trump. Both of them said that when Donald decided to go to Manhattan and jump into the big leagues, that his daddy, Fred Trump, didn't want to have anything to do with it, and indeed told Donald, if you do that, you're on your own. That if you fail, don't come to me to bail you out, because his dad didn't want anything to do with Manhattan, but that's where Donald Trump wanted to be. Fred Trump wanted to stay out in Queens and Brooklyn, but Donald wanted to go into Manhattan. And his dad, Fred, said, you go do that on your own, you're not using my money. And so he went out there and did it on his own. He almost went bankrupt his very first time. But he turned it around, negotiated, and made a huge profit, and it was a huge success. So all that money that everybody thinks that, Donald Trump inherited. No, he didn't inherit. He's a self-made man, actually. Sure, he had a few He had connections because of what his father, who his father was and what his father did for a living. He had connections that many of us don't have, but he still had to go out there and do it himself. He had to put that together. He had to negotiate in order to save that first project of his and to turn it around and make it a profit. And that's exactly what he did. He's a self-made man. Nobody can take it away from him. If you want to talk about return on investment, now the man's worth well over $10 billion as far as I'm concerned right now, looking at all his holdings. That's greater than a 2% return since the 80s when he got started. He started with basically nothing. But I don't, I don't know where this, well, I do know where the love-hate comes with Donald, because Donald Trump is out there telling the truth, what he believes to be the truth. He isn't apologizing for a damn thing. He's not backing off. He's not walking anything back. And the left just can't understand, because the left goes after him, and tries to say, well, this about Donald and that about Donald. And Donald doubles down and attacks right back. And it's been a long, long, long time since the lamestream media and the left have had to deal with a potential Republican that does not back down. They don't know what to do. And so now they're out there, well, geez, if anybody out there is supporting Donald Trump, we want to know why. So they assume that because Tom Brady hung out with Donald a few times, that by osmosis, he's just going to support him. And if he's going to support Donald Trump, well, he needs to explain why he's supporting Donald Trump. Tom Brady needs to explain. And trust me, it isn't this, hey, Tom, you want to tell us why you might be supporting Donald Trump? No. It is, you need to explain, buddy, why you like Donald. That's what they're demanding. They're not asking. They're demanding. It's the title of the piece. Tom Brady needs to answer questions about his support of Donald Trump. Why? Because some hack at Sports Illustrated decided, and this is a piece by it's authored by Aaron Leibowitz. I don't know why. I know why. I just don't understand why people accept this kind of stuff from the lamestream media. I mean, when you listen to some of the questions that the supposed, journalists have been asking of Donald Trump, have been asking of Ben Carson, have been asking of Carly Fiorina and a few other Republicans, those are not journalistic questions. Those are pompous ass, leftist supporting, agenda pushing questions. Plain and simple. Well, look, I'm not a journalist. So I don't have to be neutral. I can go after a candidate on either side of the island, and really push my own agenda if I have one. But if you're a journalist, you don't have you're not supposed to have an agenda. And if you do, you're not supposed to bring it out in your work. These people are at the point now where they don't even care. They used to try to hide the fact that they were leftists. The majority of them were leftists. They're not even trying to hide that anymore. Which just goes to tell you the level of discord that the media has for the general public, which is you and me. No, don't lump me in with the lamestream media. I'm not a part of the media. No way, no how. And I sure as hell wouldn't be demanding that if Tom Brady wanted to support, if he was supporting Hillary Clinton, I would not be out there saying Tom Brady needs to explain why he supports Hillary Clinton. Now, I guarantee you, if he were out there supporting Hillary Clinton, this demand from Sports Illustrated would not pop up. It would not. But since he's out there supporting somebody who is now, if Brady was supporting, I don't know, maybe somebody like Jeb Bush, Well, he wouldn't be, they wouldn't be demanding that he explain himself for his support for Jeb Bush. No, because, Jeb is probably, the lamestream media's, he was their favorite. Kind of like McCain was their favorite over Romney. And the lamestream media has been trying, and they just can't figure out why they are not able to pick our candidate so far. That no matter what they do or what they say or what they ask or how they think they've asked and a gotcha question, they cannot seem to put off the Republican voter on people like Donald Trump and Dr. Carson and now Carly Fiorina, in that the people that they did support, like Jeb Bush, they keep falling in the polls. Like Chris Christie can't get any traction. Look, the left loves those people. But, look, they don't want, you can tell who the press hates. Look, do you see them giving much airtime to people like Bobby Jindal or to Ted Cruz or to Marco Rubio? No, because, they're kind of like Trump. They don't want those kind of people out there winning the Republican nod, because if they do, they would kick Hillary's you-know-what. So this whole notion that Tom Brady, now Tom's got to, but Tom did answer this. He did answer. And this is on NESN, the New England Sports Network. And he was asked about this on WEEI's Dennis Callahan and Minihan show. And Brady says, well, politics isn't exactly his thing. He says, look, I've known him for a long time. He's been a fun guy that I've had a lot of time around. The fact that he's running, it's obviously led to a lot of stories and debates, and I know the ratings were huge for all those Republican debates and so forth. He said, one way or the other, it's so far away from when the election will be, and whatever I vote is going to be my own personal choice based on how I feel. I don't even know what the issues are right now. Well, that's a problem right there. So, no, he shouldn't be supporting anybody if he doesn't even know what the issues are. He says, I don't even know what the issues are, and I haven't paid attention to politics in a long time. It's actually not something that I really even enjoy. It's way off my radar. Well, at least he's being honest about that. Look, politics is something many people don't. I don't particularly enjoy politics. But I got to pay attention. As an American citizen, is my civic duty to be paying attention to what these people are doing to us. So it's not something that I take pleasure. Look, I don't take pleasure in bringing you bad news. On a nightly. That's why I probably couldn't be a journalist. I wouldn't, a news anchor or something like that. And I wouldn't be able to smile or smirk while giving you bad news. It just. I'd be smirking and smiling for good news, like John Boehner resigning. That's good news. I would do that, but other than the plane crashed or the school bus was run off the highway and children died. No, that's not my thing. But I know some people, they think that's their thing, so they can go right ahead. But it's their calling, and I'm not chastising Tom Brady for not paying attention, because a lot of American adults don't pay attention to politics, even though politics is actually paying attention to them. They think they have better things to do. They think they're too busy. I would, disagree with that assertion or notion. But it is what it is. And so I don't think Tom owes anybody. I would think, Tom answered it kind of deftly when he was on NESN. Look, this is, because people ask me all the time right now, well, who do you support, Rod? Who do you support? At this particular point in time, I don't support anyone. It's way too early. I want to see what more they have to say. I want to see these people start coming out with their platforms and their plans for policy. Like Trump just came out earlier today, with his plan on changing the tax code. Now, I'm kind of disappointed because he's keeping this, this notion of multi tax brackets for different people or different professions. The hedge funds guys should pay more, and these people should pay more, and these people should pay less. Gotta tell you, I don't like his plan. On the surface, I haven't delved into it, but on the surface, the sound bites that I get and the bullet points that I get of his plan, I don't like it. I know some people are going to be kind of surprised, but that's Donald. You gotta like Donald. No, I don't gotta like anybody. I've gotten this question before. Actually, this has actually happened when I was in North Carolina with the New Bern group. Somebody was asking me a question about, basically about what people think about me, because I'm a black conservative. What do people think about you? And I had to look the woman directly in the eye and said, you know what? Frankly, I don't give a rip what anybody thinks about me, which, by the way, led to an uproarious applause in the room. Because I don't. Look, what other people think of me really isn't any of my business, nor can I do anything about it. If I'm going to be me and be genuine, there's nothing I can do about what other people think about me. Now, if I want to placate to them, if I want to, oh my goodness, I don't want anybody to hate me, so I got to be, likable to everybody. Well, that's not my game. That's not something I'm going to play. And one of the things that my parents never really had to worry about with me, especially in high school, is that I would go along with the crowd. They knew that they didn't have to worry about me in high school about being talked into or doing something because I wanted to be accepted. I didn't really care what people thought about me in high school either. I had my friends, the people I hung around with. I had my best friend, and we were extremely tight in high school. His name was Danny. You couldn't separate us, and I didn't care what anybody else thought. We were best friends. We had fun. We did what we wanted to do. We didn't care about being in the in crowd or being part of the clique, or, we both played sports. He was in band. I wasn't. People will say, well, yeah, you got a friend who's in band. What do you? No, even back then. Yeah, no, I did not care. And quite interestingly enough, I don't think Dan really cared either. So we were kind of two peas in the pod. We just had fun together in high school. I got to tell you, I miss the kid. Well, we're not kids anymore, but I miss the man. I wish we would have kept in closer contact over the years, but, things happen and distance happens and you start living your own lives apart. That's life. But I did not care. I still don't care. Somebody says, to be frank with you, the only man's opinion about me that I really cared about has passed away. And that was a man by the name of Rod Eccles, my father. There's nobody else that's my father. So I don't care what anybody else thinks about me. It's irrelevant in my book. I can't change their perception anyway. And in fact, it's none really, as long as they're not physically trying to harm me, it's none of my business how they feel about me. They could curse me in the back of the room for all I care. I don't need to know why. I don't care why. And I'm getting the feeling that this is Tom Brady's stance too. He's out there to play a game and to win. And he doesn't give a rip what anybody else thinks about him. Well, hey, Tom, you got to answer. Well, look, I don't even pay attention to politics. Now, let me tell you something. When the time comes for me to vote, I'm going to tell you what it is. Good for you, Tom. Because it's nobody's business. Just as it's, It's not my business of what other people think about me, and I'm not even going to waste my time trying to figure all that kind of crap out. Because frankly, it doesn't really make any sense, and I'm not going to be able to change it anyway. So why should I worry about it? Look, the gray hairs that I get aren't going to be from me worrying about what other people think about me. That's for dang sure. I'm not going to care. And there's other parts. Well, what about other things? Well, there are other things in Tom's life and my life and that are just nobody else's business. Whatever you do in your personal life is none of anybody else's business. That's why I don't follow celebrity. I don't care what they do in their private life. That's why it's called private. If he's a football player, then you care about what he's doing on the field. If he's not harming anybody while he's off the field, then you don't even have to care what he's doing off the field. No big deal. He's not out there, blowing things up, promoting drugs or, Tom's just a good, part of the problem is Tom is a pretty much a clean guy. And other than because he's part of a team that constantly wins, which is why everybody hates him, outside of New England, he doesn't really, the whole Deflategate, what is it? That's really a scandal? They blew this whole thing up, pun intended, because it really wasn't that big of a deal. It really wasn't. And it meant nothing as far as New England winning or not winning. I mean, they just walloped the competition anyway. But they got to take this as a lesson. People will always try to find something negative when you become successful. They will always try to dig up your negative past, something from your past that's negative, or something that they think that you're doing now is negative. They will always try to put that forth. Even if it's in your private life. Oh, my goodness. Hey, he's got a divorce or he's got a child of wedlock. That has nothing to do with what's happening on the field. Who cares about all of this other stuff? He doesn't have to discuss it. Brady doesn't have to answer any questions. I don't care if you demand it or not. You don't have the right to demand it anyway, Mr. Leibowitz. How about we start, what we need to do? We need to start flipping these questions around. We need to start asking our so-called journalists these kind of questions because, hey, you're the ones with agendas that are saying that you don't have them. And we know that's a lie because every single time you open your mouth, you prove you do.
The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Alright folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started again.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
2 as we get started here in the fastest 2 hours in Internet Talk Radio. I am your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere in the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. The number that you can call in this evening, should you wish to speak to yours truly, me, is toll-free 603-835-3224. Again, that's 603-835-3224. As we get right into... Hey, you know, one of the things with... well, I know... Did everybody see the wonderful show that we had last night in our solar system? And that would be, the supermoon, the blood moon, the solar eclipse and all that kind of stuff. I got to see it. It was a beautiful sight. Knowing all that's, outer space is fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. But what most of us don't realize, or at least we don't think about, is how outer space affects inner space. In that inner space, I mean this planet. Because everything that happens out there, directly and indirectly, affects everything that happens down here. You can't. For instance, obviously the reason for the solar eclipse last night was the fact that the Earth moved in between during its full moon phase. It moved in between the sun and the moon. Now you have to understand what we see in the moon is. I know it's hard to believe that some people just do not understand this. The moon is actually, because of its surface. Well, actually, all the planets, reflect the sunlight from the sun in some form or fashion. But our moon, it has this white opaqueness to it, because that's what it's, the surface of it, that's what it's covered in. It's like this ashy color. And it does a very good job of reflecting the sunlight. And so what we see at night is because the moon is in various degrees of being, I guess, behind the Earth when you're looking at, in comparison to the sun. So when we don't see the moon, when it's a new moon, it's because the moon has moved in between, in a phase, has moved in somewhere in between the Earth and the sun. Now, if it moved directly in the path of the sun, then we'd have a sun or solar eclipse of the sun, which happens from time to time. It's kind of rare, but it does happen. But the other time is that, in a direct view, it's not in a direct line of sight between the sun and the Earth, but because it reflects the light of the sun instead of having its own luminescent force, we can't see it. But when it gets somewhere behind us, then we start to see it. And, that's the way it normally and always has been. But there is a fact that it affects us here. I mean, the moon actually does, the moon's gravitational pull actually contributes to the tides on this planet. So there are times when, when the moon is rather far away in relation to the Earth, and the tides tend to be less. And then when the moon gets closer, well, that gravitational pull gets a little bit stronger, so the tides tend to be a little bit stronger. And so look, it's out there, but it's affecting us down here. And looks like we have a call this evening on the Rod Eccles Show. Good evening.
Good evening. This is North Carolina calling you.
Hello, North Carolina.
This is your driver. Remember me?
Yes, I do. And how are you this fine evening?
Well, let me tell you, we've had nothing but rain.
Well, we haven't had any rain up here, so I thought maybe I'd take it back with me, but I guess I didn't.
No, you left it here, and it's going to continue raining until Thursday.
Well, we could probably use a little bit more of it up here, but I'm not going to complain.
But anyhow, I am listening to your program. It's very nice. I wish you would talk more about politics, really, because that's what we enjoy listening to here in North Carolina, is the politics. Fox News is not fair and balanced, but you are.
I wouldn't know if I would say I was fair and balanced. I am fairly unbalanced to the conservative side, but that's what you all like down there in North Carolina anyway. So.
That's right. Craven County here in North Carolina, New Bern, we are very fair and balanced. We are much more conservative than anything else.
Yeah, well, you treat everybody fairly, even if they're an idiotic liberal. I fully understand that, and frankly, I think conservatives are very nice, and that we do give liberals the benefit of the doubt, because we often have to get pushed and shoved by liberals before we react to their idiocy. Where liberals, on the other hand, they right out of the gate they start calling us names and trying to push us around and that kind of thing. And we, as conservatives, we seem to have a little bit more class.
I think so. I agree. See, that's one thing I agree. I'm with you. I do not like Donald Trump's tax plan. I think it's ridiculous. I think everybody in America should pay their share of taxes, because that's the only way that we're going to bring that debit that we have, that 19 trillion that we have down. We can't do it that way. The way he is saying, it's not right.
Right, everybody. I agree. Everybody needs to have some skin in the game. I don't care how little you make or how much you make. If you have a little bit of skin in the game, you're going to be paying attention to what the government is doing and how they're spending it. So you're going to, if you're only paying $100 a year in taxes based on your income, well, that's a lot of money to you. So you're going to want to make sure that somebody's not wasting that.
Absolutely. I believe the same way, and when I saw that, I thought, oh, my gosh, how can I get up with him and say, oh, you're crazy. You can't do that. This is somebody making $25,000 not paying anything, and a couple making $50,000 not paying anything. Oh, no, come on.
Well, another thing that we have to be careful for is the shell game. And, again, I haven't really delved into his tax plan in depth, but from what I understand, there might be a little bit of shell game going on where, you may not be paying in the income tax area, but they're going to make it up someplace else. So,
oh yes, it's going to be done in the state taxes, anything like that. Your sales taxes. Right now we're going to be having property taxes going on here, and you were talking about the suburbs here. Most of our homes are custom built. That's why our homes are not alike.
Well, there you see. I was right when I noticed that there was no similarities between one home to another.
Even in my suburb, it's all custom built.
Well, they were some beautiful neighborhoods in the New Bern area. They really were. They were amazing. And by the way, for those of you who are trying to figure out where New Bern is, if you just go a little bit south of Cherry Point, and a lot of people know where that is, you're going to find New Bern.
No, you go south towards Cherry. You go first New Bern, and then you go Havelock, and Cherry Point is in Havelock.
Okay. So
further on down is the ocean. About 15 miles down is the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay, so Cherry Point is approximately south of New Bern, not the other way around.
Right.
Okay.
Cherry Point is south of New Bern.
Well, I'm not gonna say I got an A in North Carolina geography. So.
Well, I told you the next time you come down, I'll take you down to Cherry Point and take you down towards the ocean so that you can, get an idea of the area here, and then into a lot of suburbs that things are not the same. Homes are not the same.
And. I do look forward to coming back down. I think I'm going to be back down there.
We're going to have you down. You know that.
Well, I think they're working on something in the spring around March or April. So I look forward to that.
Right.
I definitely look forward to it. I had a really wonderful time. The hospitality of you North Carolinians is absolutely amazing. I felt thoroughly at home.
I'm glad you did, because a lot of the people are North Carolinians here, the true ones, and they're more down towards the ocean. This is where you find the true natives of North Carolina. But there's a lot of them here, but the reason New Bern is so diverse, it's because of the military bases that we have here. We have the Marine Corps here, and that's very diverse. So this is why in this area, we have a lot more that are non-Southern people.
Well, they one of the things is about the military. Everybody, people who are not familiar with the military tend to think that they're a bunch of, simpletons, idiotic, and not very bright or very smart, and they're very rude or crude or crass. And I got to tell you, some of the nicest people on the planet and some of the brightest people on the planet are our military personnel.
They're the best. They are the best.
They really are. But you guys were great down there, and
we enjoyed having you. That's why I wanted to call you, let you know. We really enjoyed having you. It was a pleasure, and we enjoyed everything you told us, because you were talking to the choir. We knew what you were saying. We understood. We were informed citizens here.
And that's what my goal is, just to inform everyone. Right. I want everybody to be informed. I don't care where they are.
And we're trying to do that, trying to inform everybody.
And you guys are working pretty well at doing that. So it was a good crowd, a very good crowd. And it wasn't, as it was the the Republican women's group down there in New Bern, but it just wasn't a room full of women. There were men in there too. So that's a diversified crowd, and that's a good thing, especially when you're considering that you're supposed to be a women's group.
Right. It was
I'm
good.
sure the left would have a heyday with that. They were like, wait a minute, you're only talking to women? No, there were men there too.
Oh, yes. They are associate members. The women are the members, and the men are associate members.
Well, you allow men to be members of a woman's group? Well, you know what that is, don't you?
Yes.
That's diversification that the liberal left says that we don't have.
Yeah, we do. They are associate members. Any man can be an associate member.
And they're still men. They're not the other kind.
Yes, they're men. Men.
They're not trannies.
No. They're men.
That's great. Now this is Lillian, correct?
Yes, it is Lillian.
I recognize the voice. That's right. Lillian, I do appreciate your call. It is a pleasure you are a Spitfire, too. You are absolutely something else. Lillian, ladies and gentlemen, she was one of my drivers, if you will, one of my, I should say, mobile host.
That's right.
Driving me here and there, and she was fantastic. I actually, now this is how on top of it this lady is, ladies and gentlemen. We were halfway between New Bern and Greenville, North Carolina, and I realized that I had forgotten my camera back at Diane and Denny's home. She didn't even hesitate. She jumped on her phone and called my former host, Diane, and then arranged to have that camera delivered to me. And the next day, my host in Greenville handed me my camera before I was off to be on my plane. And I don't know any place else that would do that, but I do thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. And see, I'm a Yankee too, and I did that.
I felt like such an idiot for forgetting it, because I actually left it right where I would not forget it, and I went off and left it and forgot it. But you guys did a better job than the United States Postal Service.
That's right. We certainly do. But the thing is this, that I forget things, too, when I'm traveling. So then I have to go to a store to buy something, and it's nice if I could say, if somebody was with me and say, oh, I have that, you can have it, whatever, because you always forget something.
You do, and I do all the time, even when I try not to. I still do.
And it was fun, you know. The only thing I hated was getting up so early and having to pick you up so early. I felt like, oh my gosh. But that was okay.
Yes.
Everything worked out good, and like I said, I'm thrilled that you came, and we will have you back down here.
Well, I definitely appreciate that, and I look forward to it.
Okay, and I will be listening to your radio every time I get a chance to, okay?
Thanks, Lillian. Have a great night.
You too.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for calling in. Bye-bye. I told you, folks, it's great. You know what? What you have to understand is the people of this country. I don't understand. Well, when it comes to conservatives, the hospitality of conservatives is unparalleled with anybody on the planet, really. I don't, when it comes down to just being rude people, I often find that the most rude among us are on the left, and that's just a personal observation. I'm not, blowing smoke up anybody's, Yahoo, but just the very fact that's the truth, and that lefties don't particularly seem to be very generous with their time, their money, their hospitality. I don't know what it is, but conservative. If you ever need, I'm just going to tell you, conservative friends, they're a lot more dependable than any liberal friend I have. That's the God's honest truth, and that's just from I have liberal friends, and that is my own personal anecdote from life. Now, you may think that you find it to be different, but I doubt it. And I know there are people on the left that are thinking, well, I'm not rude. Well, actually, you probably are, if you're a lefty. And they've done surveys and stuff like that about people. And some of the Boston. Boston is quite the liberal city, but it's also considered to be rather rude. There you go. And you got places like in North Carolina. I mean, some very conservative areas in North Carolina, conservative cities. And what do you hear people say? Oh, they were so friendly, so nice and cordial and attentive. That's not really the description I get about Boston from outsiders. Now, I happen to like Boston for a number of different reasons, but I also know that Boston doesn't, and Boston is like a lot of different places, isn't really full of a lot of natives because of all the colleges that we have around here, all the prominent ones, like Harvard and Boston College, Boston University, and Holyoke and Holy Cross and all the others around here, and Dartmouth and we draw people from all over the place to this region. And a lot of times, you get to the more liberal areas and they just don't appear to be friendly. Now, I don't know, maybe that's just the New England the observation of New Englanders, but I don't think that's it, because you go up to Maine. Maine is, even though oftentimes they elect, kind of liberal representatives, the Maine people still tend to be rather conservative. And I never hear people say that, Mainers are rude. They're a very friendly bunch, very open, and I like visiting Maine, really. And you know what? It's becoming leaf peeping season. If you're gonna, stop in New Hampshire and take a look at all the, the great white north, as we call it, the White Mountains. It's not white then, it's ablaze in color. And then head over into Maine, too. Maine is also absolutely beautiful. Anyway, the reason why I was bringing up what happens out there in outer space is because today we also got some news about Mars, where scientists believe that there is that they've found or know of liquid water being on the surface of Mars. And why does that mean anything? Well, because evidently Mars had a catastrophic event, a catastrophic climate change. Now, as far as we know, there were no humans on Mars when this took place. So there was no industrialized society on Mars when it had a catastrophic climate change. Now, what they're saying is that the climate change on Mars happened mostly because of solar or sun activity. Now, I know some people are probably scratching their head. Well, what the heck does that have to do with us here on Earth? Well, see, here's a news flash. Mars has the exact same sun that the Earth does. And therefore, if Mars went through this catastrophic climate change, and it was caused mostly by solar activity from the sun, could we not fairly say and scientifically say, well, the sun can dramatically affect our climate here on Earth as well? And if that's the case, then that means this man-made global climate change and man-made global warming is a farce. And whether or not they realize it, all these wonderful scientists that seem to think that man-made climate change is real on this planet, they just prove the opposite by telling us exactly what is going on and what has happened on the planet of Mars. You can't separate us. We're in the same freaking solar system, for crying out loud. We're sharing the same sun. We haven't been separated from the sun. You know, we may be at different times of the year and at opposite ends of the solar system or the opposite ends of the sun, but and our orbits are not the same. But frankly, whatever happened on Mars, it was due to the sun. And so whatever is happening on this planet right now as far as climate change, like it always has happened, isn't due to mankind because we've only been able to affect or pollute over the last 150 or 200 years. So what happened to all that rapid and significant climate change before the Industrial Revolution? Oh, well, we have to explain it somehow. The explanation is, as it was 1,000 years ago, as it is today, it's not mankind's activity, it's the activity or lack thereof or overabundance of the sun.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Start training for a new career in as little as 18 days. National EMS Institute's innovative boot camp program will train you for a new career. Learn to respond to emergency situations and become a certified EMT in just 18 days. National EMS Institute guarantees 100% job placement. Visit www.nationaleMSinstitute.com today to learn more about our 18-day boot camp. Or call us at 1-800-497-6732. NationalEMSInstitute.com.
Stuck in a boring, low-paid job? By 2017, there will be a shortage of 2 million cybersecurity jobs worldwide. If you have a technical background but don't have a computer certification, you're being drastically underpaid. In months, you could be qualified for a new job in information technology, making real money with real job security. A new career is just a few clicks away at thecodeoflearning.com.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
You know, one of the... I just got a quick, not a text, but a text on the computer from someone saying, well, you know, if Lillian, thank you again, Lillian, for the call, and I did have a wonderful time down there. They were saying, it seems like you cared about what they thought about you, Rod. Well, no. See, you misunderstand. You misconstrued what I'm saying. I am only being myself, and I do believe in giving the best that I have to offer. And if the best that I have to offer is something that others like, then that's what I care about, delivering the best that I have to offer. Now, if I deliver my best and somebody else doesn't like it, there's not much I can do about that. But if I deliver the best I have to offer and people like it, well, I am pleased by that. So make no mistake, I'm not unappreciative when people like what I do or like me personally or like me professionally. I'm very appreciative of it. That's simply because I'm giving them the best that I have to offer, and they like that. If they don't like the very best I have to offer, well, there's nothing else I have to offer, so why should I spend time worrying about that? That's what I mean by not caring what other people think. Because I'm giving them my best. If they're not going to like it, they're not going to like it. I have nothing else to give them. Isn't that amazing? You can actually, honestly, if you give your best to somebody, your absolute best, and you can say, I've given you everything I can possibly give you. There's nothing else I can give you because I've given you my best. If that's not enough, then I don't, what else am I going to do about it? Not because you can't give more than your best, right? Because if you can give more than your best, then what you actually gave them wasn't your best. That's kind of logical. Hey, guess what's back? Guess what is back? Or I should say, guess who is back? No, I guess it would be what? The vast right-wing conspiracy is back. Yeah, remember that from the Bill Clinton administration? This, the vast right-wing. Well, Bill is back out there talking about Hillary's email troubles. And guess what he's doing? He's blaming Hillary's email problems on the vast right-wing conspiracy. Yeah, yes, he was out there over the weekend talking about, the reason why Hillary's having problems with her emails is because of conservative Republicans. Well, actually, he might be onto something. He's not completely wrong with that. And here's what I mean. Because conservative Republicans are the ones who are making a big deal about what Hillary Clinton did as Secretary of State, which, by the way, if it is true what she did or what is claimed that she did, it's illegal and she broke the law. So it is not a vast right-wing conspiracy, as it is people who believe in law and order and following the rules are holding them, his wife, accountable to those same rules that everybody else is accountable to. So I guess in that respect, yeah, it is the Republican conservatives' fault that Hillary is having troubles about these emails, because obviously the leftist Democrats don't care because, she's a leftist Democrat. And she should be able to do whatever she wants to do because she's a leftist Democrat. And she's Hillary Clinton, who happens to be the wife of Bill Clinton, who happens to still be a very much a favorite of the liberal left. And so I know when Bill was out there on the talking circuit, all the talking shows and giving out these talking points over the weekend, and I'm sure there are people on the left that are saying that are supporting Hillary, saying, yeah, who cares? All you right-wingers, that's all you care about is the law. Well, yeah. If you're going to make laws and enforce those laws on the rest of us lowlifes out here in the public, then those of you inside the Beltway have got to live up to those same standards. And plain and simple. So, but look, I guess this is how they're going to try to worm their way out of it, is by blaming. And you know what? The lamestream media is going to pick up on this, and they're going to start, trumpeting the same thing, that it's a vast right-wing conspiracy against Hillary Clinton because she's the brightest, smartest woman in any room that she walks into, and that the right is so afraid of her that they've got to try to destroy her any possible way they can. But the point is, the real reality about all this is that the right doesn't have to do anything to destroy Hillary. She's already done it. She's destroyed herself. The only problem is that there are people out here, in the hinterlands, outside the Beltway of Washington, D.C., that are paying attention. And we have been paying attention for a long time. And this goes back to, things like Benghazi. We're still trying to figure out what the hell happened back then. Even while she was out there saying, what difference does it make at this point? Well, it's called Did You Break the Law? Because if any one of us out here in the hinterlands outside of the Beltway did the same thing, I guarantee you that most of us would probably be in jail right now, serving a sentence, a very long sentence. By the way, as a side note, speaking of long sentence, did you hear what Jared Fogelman got? The Subway guy. Subway Jared. He pled guilty to soliciting and paying for sex with a minor, as well as having some amount. They didn't say how much, but I guess some amount of child pornography. But he's only getting 5 years to 12 and a half years behind bars, and he has to pay restitution to his victims. Well, here's the problem. First of all, it's 5 years for doing what he did, and rightfully so. There are people who have been convicted of under similar circumstances who got far greater sentences than 5 years. And they're also saying, well, he's got to pay restitution. And I'm thinking to myself, you can think what you want, but I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, he's got to pay money to his victims. Well, didn't he already do that? I'm not trying to be facetious here, but this is just the reality of the facts. He paid underage girls to have sex with them. He didn't give it to some pimp. He gave it to these girls. And so now he's finding that he's going to have to pay restitution to these girls for doing that. So the girls are going to get paid twice? I'm just trying to think logically here. I'm not blaming the girls for anything. What I'm doing is pointing out the fact that somehow the legal system went completely nutso in this Jared case. I don't understand it at all. I don't understand how a guy who actually, look, you've got a kid out there right now, a high schooler. Well, there's a case here in New Hampshire where this kid was put up, on charges of possibly sexually abusing and having sex with a minor. He was a high school senior trying to have sex with a high school sophomore. And he was convicted of certain types of crimes and is going to have to register as a sex offender. He's an 18-year-old high school senior who had sex or tried to have sex with a 15-year-old sophomore. And yet Jared Fogelman is going to get away with only 5 years and having to pay back something when he is well over 18, having sex with kids well under the age of 18. I don't understand this whole process. It's none of it's making any sense. It's really not. Look, folks, we really need to get hold of our government again. We need to get hold of our government and hold all of these public officials accountable. And we need to impress upon them that we need to have sensible, logical laws and that they need to be equally presented to everyone. So we have less of this ridiculous difference for similar crimes. It makes no sense that some guy could be out there and paid for having sex with a 15 or 16-year-old and get 20 years in prison, and Jared only gets 5 years for doing exactly the same thing. That makes no sense. The only thing that I can think of is Jared got off lightly because of who he is. If he was not the Subway spokesman, do you think he would have gotten off so lightly? Oh, hell no. He would not have. He'd be going to jail for 20 years like many of these other people who were convicted of similar crimes. And in a democratic, free society like ours, that is not acceptable. The disparity in our laws should not be acceptable. And we need to get hold of our government so we can enforce them to be more fair and equal across the board with everyone, no matter who you are. Now remember, justice is supposed to be blind. But we see almost on a daily basis that this current form of government that we have doesn't seem to think that justice is blind. It'll pull up its blindfold, peek out from under it with one eye to see who you are first, and then decide. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not the way it was intended to be. And I say this often, I know, but my goodness gracious, our wonderful founding fathers have got to be spinning in their graves as they look down upon this nation right now. Their bodies have got to be, their bones have got to be spinning in their graves as their spirit looks down upon, you know what? I can just see it now. George Washington and Sam Adams and Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin and all the other founders, they're up there in heaven or wherever they happen to be doing the good old face palm. Because they cannot believe. I'm living it, and I cannot believe the state of of our current country and our government. I can't believe it. And I'm living in it. So I can only imagine what those men are thinking. We put our lives and our family's fortune on the line for this? If they could go back in time, I'm sure they'd say, oh, the hell with it, forget it, let's just, capitulate to King George and be done with it. It'd be a lot better off than what we have now. And you wouldn't... Can you imagine? There is no way that Hillary Clinton could ever get away with whatever she has done if the founding fathers were in charge. Well, it would not be possible. I mean, the corruption today is just, it's so of the norm. I guess when you actually get, the funny thing is when you actually get an honest, trustworthy politician, well, if they're honest and trustworthy, they're really not a politician, but call him a statesman. You get an honest and trustworthy statesman, and he or she is, obviously looked at as being an outsider, and automatically the establishment starts firing daggers and arrows at them. And the establishment is part of that media. Hey, Donald Trump, he's an outsider. Benjamin Carson is an outsider. And these people are getting questions that the establishment, the inside the beltway politicians do not get. And yet, when they get these questions, they answer them with no apologies, no rolling them back. And the American voter, the public, on both sides of the aisle, I might add, seems to love what they're saying. So I thought liberals in the lamestream media were supposed to be some of the smartest people on the planet. Well, let me tell you something. It doesn't take much intelligence. It doesn't take a high IQ to fully understand that if the voter likes what the outsiders are saying and how they're saying it and when they're saying it, no matter what you do or say to them, I think you should find that you need to change what you believe, quite frankly. And one of the things that I find kind of interesting is that, look, the United States is thought of as being a mockery, a laughing stock out there in the world. We really are now. We are. We used to be not only feared, but revered. We were feared by our enemies and revered by our allies and our friends. And now we're neither. In fact, we're mocked by both. And, you have people on the left that say, no, that doesn't happen. Oh, no? Well, here's something for you. And this is from Vocactive, VOCATIV.com. It's a little story about Obama's speech at the UN. Obama seems to think that I don't know how he could possibly think this, but he thinks that he has completely and fully isolated Russia. Well, in his speech, the Twitterverse kind of blew up on the Russian side. And this is something that we did not get with George W. Bush or any other, people made fun of Bill Clinton because of his sexcapades, but other than that, the United States really wasn't that badly mocked by friend or foe. But the Twitterverse just erupted with mockery for Obama and the USA over Obama's speech. And I guess it was pretty, his speech was pretty popular, or unpopular, however you want to look at it, in the hinterlands of Russia. Hundreds of Russians seized on a particular word in President Obama's speech to the UN General Assembly earlier today, after he criticized Russian intervention in Ukraine. Now, he said, we continue to press for this crisis to be resolved in a way that allows a sovereign and democratic Ukraine to determine its future and control its territory, not because we want to isolate Russia, we don't, but because we want a strong Russia that's invested in working with us to strengthen the international system as a whole. Now, Russians are saying, yeah, right, arguing that sanctions against the Kremlin and many of President Vladimir Putin's business associates have crippled the Russian economy. So basically, one particular Russian tweet comment was, we want to isolate Russia. We don't want to isolate Russia. Geez, what's with this garbage? So again, these are Russians are picking up on this idiocy. And they're not the only ones. But they're exposing it. And you know what? The leftist media here, the lamestream media, isn't pointing this out. But then again, they don't point out just about anything that our wonderful, president does or doesn't do that doesn't fit their agenda. Now, I got to tell you, this is why, and this is another thing that these wonderful liberals just do not understand. They're losing power in the media. Their grip on being able to control what's disseminated as information. And they hate it. They constantly slam what they call the secondary or alternative media. That's the vast right-wing conspiracy people, like all the wonderful conservative talk shows. By the way, at the last time I looked at the rankings for talk show host, the top 10 were all taken up by conservatives or right-leaning talk show host. I know some people don't think Glenn Beck is a conservative, but the top 10 are all basically, I guess you could say, for lack of for easier understanding, they're Republican. Top 10. Not a single Democrat or liberal in the bunch. Go figure. But yet nobody's paying attention to us. And you see that some of the most visited news sites on the web are right-leaning. I mean, you take Yahoo and MSN, their homepage is out of the mix because, people go there if they want to use their search engines or go to their email or what have you first. And this is how they garner all of this extra attention. But you take them out of the mix and your top news sites that people are going to are not liberal. They're conservative. They're conservative leaning. So you got to ask yourself, if people are supporting true conservative candidates, or people who are sounding like they're true conservatives, like Donald Trump up until his tax plan was released, and Benjamin Carson, and Rush Limbaugh, and Sean Hannity, and Glenn Beck, and Mark Levin, and all those guys, and myself, where are all the liberals being praised and put forth and put up on a pedestal? They're nowhere to be found. Fox News gets better ratings than at least its next three competitors combined. I mean, you got one program on Fox News that gets better ratings and more viewers than the entire 24-hour run of CNN. But yet Fox News is always disparaged, where CNN is put on a pedestal and thought of being highbrow. Nobody's watching them. And then when the president says something absolutely inane and doublespeak and stupid as he did, do you think that anybody in the mainstream media or anybody here on the left in the United States picked up on that? No, but Russian citizens did. They picked up on Obama's idiocy right away. And that's the one good thing about Twitter, is that that's immediate. So you can't say that, they learned about it later on, it's been months or weeks or what have you, and they twisted everything. No, that's immediate. And that's often why in some countries, Twitter is banned before Facebook. Because Twitter is immediate. And, some of these, left-leaning governments, and I love how they try to manipulate what's left and what's right, and they call Islam extreme right. Well, no, it's not. It's an extreme left, because Islam wants absolute power in government. That's not a right ideology. That's a left-wing ideology. Communism is leftist. And Sharia law is probably left of communism. Look, this is, Putin, you can say what you want about the Crimea and Ukraine, but I got to tell you, we've done similar things. Now, I'm not saying that what Putin did was right. I don't believe it was. But in the greater scheme of things, if this guy is going in there, because what did we do? We went into Grenada to protect and support American citizens, did we not? But then we turned it back over, which Russia doesn't seem to be willing to turn Crimea back over at all. That's where the difference is. And now he's moving into Syria and loading up his military down in Syria while we're trying to train rebels that are actually going to be fighting against Assad's troops, who are now being backed up and emboldened by Russia. And we're wondering why these rebels are abandoning and surrendering and giving up American military equipment. It's just amazing how far and how badly this administration has screwed things up. It goes beyond bringing the U.S. down a notch, to be more in line with the rest of the world. Oh, no. This is more in line with not even trying to make the United States a third world country as far as politics and military power is concerned. It is trying to make us the outworldly fourth world, where we're totally and completely irrelevant to everybody else on the planet. And that is exactly what's happening. Nobody's even paying attention to the U.S. anymore. That's sad. It's almost as if we've gone back to pre-World War I isolationism. And unfortunately, in this world, that can't happen anymore. It really can't. Well, folks, that sound means we're out of time for today. I will be back here tomorrow. Don't forget to listen to 90.7 FM at Manchester, 4 to 6 for the right group. Until then, I'm Rod Eccles. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night. I'm out.
The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.